Hey, welcome to back to the channel, guys. Thinking Game Podcast, and today I'm gonna be driving the ship solo today. I had to give my boy Jay a little bit of rest, give him some rest, cause we both work jobs and our schedule just got kind of crazy. So giving him a little time off, and I'm gonna run this thing. I'm in the studio in the middle of nowhere somewhere, and gonna get this show started and get on the road. So today we got couple of new things we're gonna kind of throw into the mix today. But before I get started, I really want to drive home the mission of what we're trying to do and what we're building on, kind of like Legos. We turn the crock pot on slow cooking mode. We slow cooking it all the way through, cause it just comes out better that way. So we taking our time, building it Lego by Lego, brick by brick, and slowly but surely everything's starting to come together and become this whole building this whole grand scheme of things. So, getting right into it, I want to talk about our main mission. I want to talk about why we're doing this, what we're doing, and the whole premise behind it. So, the first point is we are making this to give the youth insight based on our experiences from 17 to 38. I'm 39 years old. When we was younger, we used to always talk about it would have been nice if we would have had somebody that was middle age, like around the age I'm in now, 38, 39, like a big brother, big uncle that come and give us the insight about transitioning into the adult life. So, next point. We are a clean podcast. We don't do any cussing, no vulgarity, no vulgar language. We want to be able to make something that can be heard by all ages. We're not knocking anybody that do that. If that's what you want to do, no problem. But if you want to come on here and chop it up with us, we would ask you to respect that space that we're creating, which is a clean content, positivity. We may talk about some things that could be negative, but you can explain things that could not be so positive still in a presentable way without cussing and vulgarity. I'm saying this from experience. I had to learn and I had to change my ways because I used to be one of those guys that cussed and vulgarity and all that. So if I can change and do something different, you can too. So I'm not saying that everybody has to do that. You know, whatever floats your boat, let it float it. But in this space, in this podcast, we're going to make clean content that everybody can listen to. And that's the whole main point behind it. We want to talk about stories and issues that we dealt with, but presented in a way where adults can hear it, youth can hear it, and older people can hear it. So this is something to think about. We want to make clean content for everybody. Third point, we want to give the youth the advantage of making a plan, strategy, when continuing post education to increase their chances of success. We all know that nothing is guaranteed. However, you can increase your percentage of success by doing certain things. Some people debate it, some people don't talk about debt, all this other stuff, but at the end of the day, people will spend debt on something, whether it's financing a house, financing a car. And I will say, from my experience, why not finance your education in something that makes sense? Don't finance education in something that does not translate in the real world, the corporate world, that'll leave you stuck in the mud. And now you have to take a whole nother set of courses because something that you took, Scandinavian basket weaving, that doesn't translate. You can't get a viable job with a degree in Scandinavian basket weaving. So, and we want to let the youth know that it's okay to take something that's challenging. Don't always take the easy road, because anybody can take the easy road. But the challenging road is what lead to greater chances of success. You hear people saying being a doctor is challenging, being a pharmacist is challenging, being a lawyer is challenging. What I say is, if you ever get a chance to do the research on lawyers, doctors, and pharmacists, you should check them out. Because once you get past the trials and you get past and you finish that race, if you have the discipline, you get your student loans paid off, and get some other things established, you can have a viable career in those fields. I've working in IT, I've seen lawyers, I've seen doctors, and let me tell you, um, unless they really made some really crazy decisions, they do really well for themselves. Something to think about. Next point. This is our ultimate goal we want to do. Ultimately, we want to build or acquire a building center in Southwest Little Rock, and we want to bring youth in like an after school situation, couple of days a week, something that we can do around our work schedule, and really talk to them about transitioning from teens to adults. The responsibility, accountability, understanding how things work, like understanding that bills are recurring. You have to pay those every month if you want to own something. Have an apartment or a house. Utility bills are due. Rent is due. To understand that those things are due. Having to understand as a man, if you want to be highly successful, be able to provide for your family, and still do the other comforts of life, how much that really takes and how much it takes to operate and have a stable household. No, we all know nobody's perfect, but we can all strive to be consistent and stable. I think that's fair. However, stable and fair comes with a cost as well. And with that cost, that's what we're teaching to you. Sometimes you may not be a part of the crowd. Sometimes you're not going to hang out like everybody else. Sometimes, you're going to sacrifice what you deem as free time. You're going to fill that time with doing homework or learning, some side hustles and things of that nature and doing other things. So that's something we really want to do, is have a building that the youth can get to in Southwest. We teach them things in tech, IT, corporate strategies, how to really maximize your corporate career, how to climb that ladder, and be strategic about what you're doing. So, yeah, we really want to, that's our ultimate goal, is to have a center and really bring them in, the youth that want to come. Because to be honest with you, every kid doesn't want to play sports. Every kid is not athletic. I'm 6'5". I wasn't good at sports. I wasn't athletic. And if I would have had guidance in IT earlier, I probably would have got into IT earlier. And like I said, I didn't go back to school till I was about 26, 27, 28, somewhere in there. I think about 26, 27, somewhere in there. But I know for a fact that if I would have had the right mindset and started school when I graduated high school and get all the education out the way and be done probably by the time I be 25, 26. And at that point, you just sledding uphill at that point. You just picking offers and taking your time and going through offers and salaries and things like that. So that's what we want to do. We want to help the youth transition from teens to adults, help them build a strategy, help them understand that if you make a strategy with your post education, learn how to market yourself, learn how to communicate, learn how to get that work experience at the same time with your education, you have a better chance of success. Because a lot of times, that communication, I had to learn that for myself, is the communication, being able to articulate what you're thinking, being able to uh, respond to emails in an eloquent way, being able to explain something in 3 or 4 sentences to somebody about a solution or a scenario or an update. You may not be finished with an issue, but you're about halfway done, so you let them know in so many words you're halfway through the situation. So we'll be done by next week. We'll be done by Monday. I'll give you another update on the status Monday. Simple communication like that goes a long way. You'd be surprised on how many people don't take advantage of those communication situations. So we're gonna move on to the next segment, and pretty much we had asked people on Facebook, our critical thinkers, people that watch our show. We thank you for the support. We thank you for watching. We appreciate everything, and we want to ask, go to the YouTube channel and help us get to 1K subscribers. Go to the YouTube channel, Corp Tech Media, and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Even hit the like button and share on Facebook. We could use all the help we can. We want to spread the word to the youth. We don't want to beat the youth up, but we want to give them insight on how important it is, especially with the times we are in now, with inflation, prices rising. You have to make solid decisions, have a solid strategy in place in order to get ahead and stay ahead. Because minimum wage, I'm telling you, is not going to cut it. Just talking to somebody the other day, it was a apartment complex on 65th Street in Little Rock, and they was charging $850 a month for rent, and that's an apartment. A mortgage probably gonna be more than, especially if you build a new house, it's gonna be way more than that. I mean, you're probably looking at $1,200 to $1,500 with mortgage and escrow combined, something like that. But average run of the mill apartment, $850. That's not even including utilities if you have to pay those, internet and stuff like that. So really getting them to understand that in order to live on your own and not have to borrow money after you pay your bills, being able to pay your bills and have money to do extra things, you really gotta make good, solid decisions, the best you can with what you have. And it having somebody that can give you insight before you get there, I think, is an advantage, because a lot of times when you're young, especially 18, 19, there are some things you just don't understand or know just yet because you haven't got to that point in life. But if somebody can give you insight about that point that you're about to get to, things to look out for, some things you can tighten up on, or some things to do to kind of make that, to get to the next point easier, I think is a win-win. It's an advantage that we can give to our youth. And I don't have a problem with that. That's our main goal, is to help our youth transition from teens to adults. The winning mindset. You have all these books and about financial literacy and all this stuff, but if you don't have common sense, or if you don't have any discipline or self-accountability, when you get, somebody can give you $10,000 and you won't handle it right. You'll run through it and blow it. But if you have common sense and discipline when somebody give you $10,000. You would think about what you need to do with that before you start spending. What do I need to invest in? What do I need to put up? Do I need to save a nest egg before I start? Not saying you can't buy some nice things, but also invest and put stuff up. Have some kind of, mutual fund or Roth IRA, something like that. Put up a percentage of it. You get $10,000, put up 7,000, and then spend 3,000. How about that? So we had a Facebook advertisement that people wanted to. Not an advertisement. We sent out to our critical thinkers and our viewers that we want to feature their comments and we want to talk about those things. And we had somebody give us comments. We have somebody give us something, and we're gonna look into that now. I'm gonna hit the video switcher. That's what's cool about this studio. We can do some different things. So I'm gonna go right to it. And our person that responded is Michelle Harris. Shout out to Michelle Harris on Facebook. And her comment was, young people, do your research before purchasing your first car. During this pandemic, used cars are being sold for more than they are worth. Listen to the salesman. Make him write down everything he is saying in his sales pitch and watch out for that extremely high interest rate. They try to sell you the new normal is over 10%. That's just to get you to buy. The Bible tells us not to be anxious for nothing, in all things in prayer and supplication. If you have to wait, then wait. Now, we can break this down sentence by sentence. I'm gonna show you something after we go through this. I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna put a disclaimer in right now. I don't work at a used car lot. Never been a used car lot salesman. I have flipped cars before, but it's a totally different animal when you're talking about financing cars and working at a used dealership. So I'm not going to get into all the paperwork. I really want to get into the psychology of going to a car lot, understanding, it's their job to sell you the car. However, you have to know before you go into this car lot, why am I going here for? Do I even need to go here for? What can I afford? What can't I afford? And if they try to throw something at me that I can't afford, am I willing to walk away? Some people are more emotional and some people are logical, depending on your personality. Most of the time, when you're impulsive, you will end up in something that maybe you shouldn't have got because of the impulse. You just felt good at the time. And then after you get it, you realize the commitment that it's going to take. And now you're halfway in it. You're like, wow, what did I do? What did I do? So we're going to talk about that first section. Young people, do your research before purchasing your first car. During this pandemic, used cars are being sold for more than they are worth. Now, the reason why, in my opinion, because I don't work at a car lot, but transportation is in demand. Used cars are in demand. Another thing people don't realize is that they are keen to that. They keep up with that. They probably have like a analytics or department or something like that. So they keep up with those things. There used to be a time when I used to flip cars that car dealerships, when somebody traded a car in, most of the time, unless it was a really nice car, the cars that they knew they couldn't sell or it's been kind of rough, been driven like high mileage stuff. They'll run those through the car auction, like Odessa, IAAI, Scott, the insurance auctions and stuff like that. However, now because used cars are in demand, oh, they holding on to everything and they selling it for almost double of what it's worth because people need cars, people are buying cars, and real estate, is crazy. Building new houses, inflation, everything goes up. It seems like businesses wait on inflation because they can increase their profit margin based off inflation with gas going up, groceries going up, lumber going up. So naturally, cars gonna go up as well because they want in on it too. Ha ha ha! They want everybody else getting in on it. I want in too. So they're definitely being sold for more than they're worth. However, we used to have this saying when we was growing up, and it was like an inner city thing in the hood. They say, "The game is to be sold, not to be told." And what that pretty much mean is, before people tell you how things work, they're gonna sell you something. Then you find out how they work because you've been sold it, and now you gotta learn it. Most people don't volunteer information. You either have to do the research and know on your own, or you're gonna find out the hard way by being sold it and then realize that you bought a car double of what it's worth because of high demand in the pandemic. So nobody volunteers information, you know what I'm saying? And you have to do your research. You have to understand what you're getting into and possible scenarios of what could happen. So I bought my first car. I'll tell you a story about that. My first car was a cash car. 1977 Impala. It was primer down. The hood was buckled. Had a dent in the back passenger side door. Or was it driver's side door? I can't remember. And I think I bought that car for $900, I think. V8 305, two barrel carburetor, just the basic run of the mill 77 Impala. Nothing special about it at all. It ran. I loved that car. I took care of that car, maintenance that car, drove that car until I got a newer car. But I really liked that car. The only thing I think with you understanding about a cash car is you have to keep the maintenance up on it. There's no warranty. However, there's no overhead of paying a monthly car note or recurring bill because when you pay the 900 like I did, you own the car. I ended up getting it painted. I drove it in my 12th grade year. I drove it to school. I loved it. I think gas at that time was like not $1 something, but still wasn't bad like it is now. And this was like 2001, something like that. Had my license. And man, drive all around town. Shout out to my boy Larry Porter. We used to just hit back roads and just ride all over the place, go all over Little Rock, hit all kind of back roads. Shout out to Larry, man. Remember those days, big dog. So, cash cars, are they worth it? I'm gonna say yes, they're worth it. But you gotta have a flexible mindset to understand that when you own the car, the maintenance and everything costs and stuff like that. However, if you stay on top of it and you change the oil, keep the coolant topped off and checked so don't blow any head gaskets. A car is just a motor and transmission. If you take care of the motor, take care of the transmission, the car will run. The minute you start neglecting stuff, the minute you start not remembering to take care of that maintenance, that is the time when stuff gonna start breaking down. So always remember that. A lot of times, somebody have a breakdown and you ask them what happened, they say, I don't know. It just broke down. But then when you start investigating and you see there's a blown head gasket. Sometimes it's a freak accident, but I want to say 80% of the time it comes from just driving the car and not remembering to check your coolant because you don't have a sensor like new cars to let you know that you have a low coolant level. And a lot of times, if this is just a nugget about cars, because I like cars, if everything is topped off, you take care of the maintenance and oil changes and stuff. If you have a low coolant sensor that triggers, it's probably something more than just the. Most of the time, coolant don't evaporate. It's supposed to just circulate through the engine. But if you have a low coolant and you fill it back up and then pop back up again, you probably need to go ahead and take that to a mechanic and get it fixed. But just keeping up with maintenance and stuff, they try to get you with those dealerships with warranties and stuff like that. But I'm telling you, man, paying a car note, I did it for years, doing it now. Sometimes you just wish that the car was paid off. You can't wait to pay the car off. So, next sentence. Listen to the salesman. Make him write down everything he is saying in his sales pitch and watch out for that extremely high interest rate. Now, this the part that gets a little tricky. Remember, the game is to be sold, not to be told. It pays to do your own research before you walk in to a dealership. You can listen to him. However, if you don't understand the terminology that he's using, you're still going to be lost in translation. No problem. And then another thing that people don't talk about it that as much. The salesman can tell you one thing. However, when you go back into that finance office, he may tell you, I can get you this car and we got you at 400. He going to say 400 right now. Let me take you back to the finance office. Then you go back to the finance office. You get to typing. Do you need gap insurance? Do you need this? Do you need that? Now it went from 400 to like 550, 600. And a lot of these cars now, you want a new truck. Some are used trucks, but if you want those GMC Sierras and those big trucks, Tundras and all this, some of these trucks are like $80,000, 80,000, $80,000. Y'all, it's houses that don't even cost $80,000. Like that's a house on wheels. I don't want to pay that much for no vehicle, 80,000. I just don't want to do it. Not me. That's a little much. I think even if I had the money, I still wouldn't want to pay that much. That's a lot to pay for a vehicle, especially they trying to finance you. I'm gonna show you some of these finance. 72 months finance, like 7 years. It's only 12 months in a year. So, and you get, $80,000 car. What's the payments on that? That could be $1,200 a month with interest and everything. Another thing, young people, is take care of your credit. Your credit, it really helps you kind of lower that interest rate from what I understand, but I may be off. Maybe I'm going to have to get a car salesman on here to kind of explain, or somebody hit me in the comments that sell cars, and we'll bring it up on the next podcast. But do your own research. Don't just walk in there and just think that, everything is. We talked about that last podcast, is entitlement. You go in there feeling entitled. You think you deserve, or he should treat you fair and give you a good deal. That's not always the case. There's so many cases like that people, you just assume that he's going to give you a good deal. That's not always the case. You have to do your research, and you have to know what you want, what you can afford, and what you can't afford. And if he try to turn the heat up, can you walk away and say, you know what, I'm out? And I'll give you a story. I went to a dealership one time. I'm not going to say the name. However, when I went in there, the car salesman was like, this is the car we're going to look at, and this is what you're going to get. And I'm thinking, okay. There are way more cars than what you're showing me. I definitely don't want no Nissan. It was like a Nissan Pathfinder or something. I don't want no Nissan Pathfinder. He was like, well, that's what you can afford. That's what you're going to get. All right. I'll be right back. I think I just left. He tried to text me. The manager tried to text me, and I told him, look, he wanted to be disrespectful, wanted to be offensive, tell me what I can and can't get. I'm out. Nothing you can say, nothing you can do. I'm out. I'm not going to get mad at you. It ain't nothing to be belligerent about. It's just bad business, you know. And that's how you have to be. Sometimes it's like, look, you know, I'm here trying to buy from you and you talking crazy, but it's not worth arguing over. Your health is so much more important than arguing over a car, you know. It's just too much. I don't got time to be getting high blood pressure or, you know, raising my blood pressure, getting headaches over something that don't make sense. Arguing over a car, over a material thing. So definitely listen to them, but do your research and know what you're listening to, because they can sell you on some stuff. Those dudes are, some of them are real good. Now, not all of them. It's like a minority, a percentage of salesmen. They are really good at what they do. And, you know, you got to be careful because it get tricky. Those contracts get real tricky real fast. So be careful. They can write down some stuff and steal the contract. If you don't know what you're reading, you still going to get done in because you don't even know what you're reading on the contract. So you do your research. You know, go look up some contracts. Look at other people's mistakes because it's all over Google. People Google their experiences on Reddit and all this stuff. Look it up. Just don't go in uninformed or not research, because I'm telling you, they will take you down through that. They'll take you through the cleaners and won't and move on to the next person. Next. So the next sentence. They try to sell you that the new normal is over 10%. That's just to get you to buy. Listen. It's called looking at things from both sides of the fence. Being objective. Looking at it from your side is a person trying to buy a car and not get screwed. You look at it from their side is they're trying to sell this car. Maybe not all the time, but most of the time, that's their job, is to sell cars. If they don't sell a car, most of the time they don't even get paid. You know, when you first start, you get, you know, they'll front you a commission, but you have to make that money back. You have to sell cars. That's how you get paid. You have to sell cars. There's not a salary in car sales. It's how many cars can you sell, and that's how you make your money. So when you're looking at it from both sides of the fence, you can't go in there with that entitled mindset thinking that he's going to take care of you, that you deserve his best. You deserve his best interest, or he should do right by you, because now you're thinking from an entitled mindset, and that's not always the case. So you have to do your research, because one thing you know about, if anybody that grew up in the inner city, is that people will take advantage of you. We're going to get into that here a little later. People will take advantage of you. And not knowing sometimes can hurt you. What you don't know can hurt you. And sometimes people know you don't know. They'll throw some stuff out there and see if it stick, or you don't know. It's like, okay, we got a ripe apple that fell off the tree. It's time to take a bite out of it. So don't let them tell you what a new normal is. Do your research, understand what the interest rates are, and try to get the best deal. And you set the terms. If they don't want to go by those terms, turn around and walk away. Go to somewhere else. And don't let them put you in a corner and make you feel like you have to buy this car. Because some of them are, I'm telling you, they're real good. And next thing you know, you feel like you're in a corner and you got to sign the paperwork. And now you in a 72-month finance on something that you probably don't even want, but he got you on that emotional decision. So, the Bible tells us not to be anxious for nothing. In all things are in prayer and supplication. The Bible is so full of wisdom, and if you apply the wisdom, life will be so much more efficient. It'll become more efficient in your thinking, decision making, and factoring that wisdom into your decision making makes that much of a difference instead of trying to go off of what you know, because the Bible's been around longer than mostly anybody been born. And that line right there, don't be anxious for nothing. Learning how to be patient, learning how to take your time, and learning how to make the best decision and not let somebody rush you into a decision. If you learn how to do that and not let somebody play with your emotions when you go to these car lots, it's like, this is what I want. We're going to make this happen. If you can't, I just go to another dealership. Don't let them pressure you. You know, you want a SUV, but they're trying to talk you into buying a car. This is not what I came here for. I came here to buy an SUV. Can you help me fulfill that? Yes or no? And there's nothing wrong with hearing no. If they can't do it, they can't do it. Go to another car lot or wait. Don't be so anxious. Wait and do the research. What do I need to have in order to make this easier for me to afford? Sometimes you can ask them that and they'll tell you, you need to have this much down, get your credit score up to this point, and come back and we can work with you. But don't take that deal, that desperate deal where they have you sign into something and you end up owing so much that you feel like you in a pit that you can't get out. So, Michelle, thank you for your comment. Thank you for your engagement. And definitely got you featured. And we'll be posting this on Facebook as well. Michelle Harris, that's family right there. Thanks for your comment and engaging on this podcast. Now, I want to show y'all something. The youth, adults, or anybody. We're looking at a pre-owned 2018 Chevrolet Cruze Ls. It says your base price is $17,999, so $18,000. Estimated. This is an estimated payment before you go into their finance office. It says $291.15. Anybody who knows what a Cruze is, it's probably like a small, kind of like the Cavalier size, like really a sedan, small size sedan, not the mid size, small, not the Malibu or the Impala. This is a little bit under that. This is a small size sedan, and they want $18,000 for it, and it's 2018. To me, that's a little steep. It's 2022. I guess what, 4 years old, and I'm telling you that they getting a lot on these cars. Look at that. Term length 72 months. It's only 12 months in a year, y'all. Let's see, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 years, right? Think about this. Financing this for 6 years. Paying $291. Whether you got a job or not, you still got to foot that bill. And that's why we want to talk to the youth about understanding about stability, about getting into the right field so you can be able to afford these kind of things without, living check to check or wondering, I got to cut this check in half, or I got to save up a check until I get paid again to another check. You living check to check to try to pay this bill, and then something catastrophic happen. Now you got to make a choice. Do I let the car go, or do I got to take care of this? Instead of having patience and not rushing into the decision, just buy you a cash car and not even have to worry about this. Down payment, $1,800. I would probably be willing to bet that they are really sticking people for down payments, unless you got really good credit. I mean, if you got like really good credit, you might not have to pay a down payment. But if you don't, they probably gonna stick you for a down payment. You ain't gonna be able to get out of there with nothing. You're gonna have to put something down. or they probably gonna tell you to go to another dealership, which is fine too. Look at that estimated credit, very good credit, like 750 and up. So if you have lower credit, this will probably be higher. Let's look at that. Whoa, 600. It said contact us. Think about that. It said contact us. That either mean they probably not gonna do it or they gonna bust your head. And this is the part I'm telling you about. The game is to be sold, not to be told. You contact them, they gonna run your credit. They gonna say, well, we could do this, this, and this. You could be paying like $500 because you didn't have any credit. Your credit wasn't good enough. So, something to think about. Something to think about. So, youth, please be careful. Please be patient. And if you can, I would recommend to you to look for a good cash car. You can go on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist. There's a lot of places you can get cash cars from. And I would recommend, trying to get a cash car. That way you don't have the overhead of a car note every month. And learn how to keep the maintenance up on the car. So when you do get a new car, you have these thoughts in your head. And when you transitioning from a teen to adult, a lot of these things are stacked on top of each other. You got bills, you got car maintenance that you got to do. You have a job, finding a job that gives you time off, annual vacation time. Instead of taking off and not getting paid with annual vacation time, you can take off and get paid because you have to go to doctor's appointments if you want to maintain your health. You gotta go to appointments with your car, especially if you get a new car. They want you to bring it in for maintenance and stuff like that in order to maintain the warranty. Cash car, if something happens, you gotta take it to a mechanic and let them fix it. Other things you need to take care of: utility bills, rent, landscaping if you need that. All kind of things, and you have to kind of think about all of this stuff as an adult. You can't just escape it and not do it because then trouble comes. Shut off notices and things of that nature. So understanding that as an adult, you have to manage all of those things. You have to pay all of those bills, and the less recurring stuff that you can have, the better. Because the more you have, the more you feel like all your money come in is going right back out. So that's something to think about. Now, going into a topic that we think, I think is important, definitely for the youth, adults, mostly youth and adults. Most older people that's been around a while, unless it's something new they haven't really never seen, it's kind of hard to really do this or run this on them. But talking about car salesmen, any kind of salesman, and then rather, it's this thing we talk about growing up, and it's called, I'm gonna say, dealing with schemes in the inner city. Dealing with schemes, it seemed like growing up in the inner city, everybody, not everybody, but a high percentage of people had schemes going on. So, what are different versions of schemes? People that run schemes, right? Schemers. There are people who try to scheme you out of money. There are people who try to scheme you out of your time, and there are people who just try to they just run schemes just on random stuff that it'll mess your mind up. Like, wow, I can't believe you tried to scheme me on that. I'll give you an example. Sometimes people, from my experience, who gets mess around with drugs and they really kind of get caught up in it, they really get creative on the schemes they run in order to get money from people. I've heard some awesome schemes. Some schemes so good you almost fall for it. You're like, wow, that was really good. However, I know that's a scheme, but that was really good. You almost had me sold on it. And there are people that use all kind. They don't play fair. They use everything you could think of. I got a kid. I mean, this dude from Southwest Little Rock, and he telling you, he got a kid at St. Jude's, Memphis Hospital or something like that. And it's like, dude, I know you. You don't even have kids. So what's the scheme you running here? What's going on? And you got to be able to use your clues. You got to be able to think your way through these things. Sometimes while they talking to you, and that's the thing that sometimes people don't understand. You deal with schemes so much that when you actually run into somebody that's legit and not trying to scheme you, it's really hard because sometimes it seems too good to be true. But you have to be able to, like I say, do your research on the person, be able to understand, like, is this dude trying to run game or is he legit? It's the psychology of it, because I'm telling you, not knowing will get you hurt or put you in some situations dealing with schemers that by the time you get to that point and figure out that this person's a schemer, you knee deep in the mud now. So now you in a weird space. So, how do you recognize a scheme? I know that most of the time, not all, but a high percentage, most of the people that run schemes, they usually try to single out people that are gullible. They usually try to single out people that are highly compassionate, or somebody that they know that they can run the scheme on and that person will fall for it. A lot of times, if they know you're not going to fall for the schemes, they don't even really fool with you like that. Or if you call them out what they're doing, they usually get frustrated because it's like, I just wasted time trying to run this scheme on you. And now, I could have been doing it to somebody else. So there are all kind of schemes. I remember it was this scheme about a whole life insurance plan or something. Some kind of scheme where they actually have you come and meet them at the community center, and it was like a pyramid scheme. The first person who started get two people to sign up and pay, and then they get another 3 or 4 people, and then those 3 or 4 people get another 3 or 4 people, and now you got those people kicking back, and it's going all the way up to the top, though, the first person who started the pyramid. So now the first person, let's say the first person started the pyramid scheme, then he get 2 people to give $1,000, and he tells them, you're a part of it now. You should get people to give, and those 2 people they gave $2,000 to the person at the top, so he got 2,000. Those 2 people get 3 people, and they get them to give $2,000. Now, the people that was on the second tier just gave the dude on top $3,000, and then they kept $3,000. So now, the person on top has $4,000, and the person on the second tier has $3,000. And then it just continues to go down. The person that's on top charges the person that's on bottom, and it just keeps growing. That's one scheme, pyramid scheme. Another scheme is somebody that, let's say in IT, right? A lot of people fall for this. When I worked in IT at this one place, people would get an email and say, hey, can you check these financial documents to make sure that they're right? However, the person who got the email don't work in the finance department. Now, logically, a logical thinker, if you get an email like that, you would say, I don't work in the finance department. They don't really make a lot of mistakes like that. So how did I get this email? I'm hitting delete because I don't even want to see it. But some people, they're emotional, they get nosy, and they say, oh, I get to see the financial records for this company. I'm going to look at that. Open it up, boom, virus, or boom, ransomware, scheme. They schemed you by understanding that you will be curious enough to open this and get that ransomware installed on your computer. Happens more times than what you think. However, if you use common sense, you use your logical thinking, your critical thinking, it's hard to fall for those if you really think about like I said, I don't work for the finance department. Why are they sending me something that I don't even work for the finance department? I'm not opening that. That's a straight spam. That's straight a scheme. Another scheme is there used to be a lot of people from over in Africa. They prey on older people. They say, hey, I got an account. I have an account that I need to get $10,000 over there. They got my money frozen. But if you give me $10,000 and help me get my account unfrozen, I can give you $30,000. To me, don't sound right. Because if your account frozen, why is it frozen? If I give you $10,000, man, you in Africa. How am I gonna think you're gonna pay that back? You know, I'm not even thinking past that. Like, I'm not even doing it. How are you gonna pay me back? And you in Africa. People don't think about that. They'll say, oh, I want to help this person. This person really needs my help. You give that person $10,000. Now you don't even hear from them again. You're not getting that money back. They're gone. They're in Africa somewhere, laughing about. Let me tell you how I got $10,000. And they laughing all the way to the bank about how they got 10 grand off somebody running schemes on you. So, next point. Do you know how to stop the scheme or listen to a scheme? Some schemes people run on you, yeah, you gotta stop it right then and there. You don't even want to listen to it because sometimes, you get caught up in it and next thing you know, they're trying to, set you up for something or get you stuck in something that you don't have to be stuck into if you wouldn't have just listened in the first place. Now, there are some things, if you're objective and you can listen, you can learn from people that run schemes and understand what they're doing, because I do it in a heartbeat. I learned that from just growing up. Like, let's listen to them, see what the sales pitch is, see if it's a good or bad scheme. I'm telling you, it's some good. There are some people that are really good. Not all schemers are bad. There are some people really good at running schemes, and man, it takes years for you to decode what they're doing, or it takes years for them to find out they was running the scheme, and by that time, they either gone or the money's gone. They didn't blew through that money. You think about the Enron guy, right, with the whole retirement thing. Running the scheme, took that money and left. He went to jail, but I don't know if they ever retrieved the money. I didn't hear about it. But I'm telling you, with schemes, you got to be careful. And don't let people run game on you. Don't let people run those schemes on you, because they're out there. People, it's just audacity to people sometimes. They don't even care about what you go through, or, what happens after they run the scheme and they get what they get the money or whatever. They don't care that was your life savings. They don't care that there was your rent money. They don't care. All they want is the agenda or the motive of their scheme. That's all they want. They don't care about how you feel. They don't care about you being frustrated. They don't care about you being mad. They could care less. All they want is what they're trying to scheme you for. Bottom line. Just like dealing with car salesman. That's not his problem that you can't afford the car. That's not his problem that car note's too high after you go in the finance room. Not his problem. His problem is to sell you that car. It's not to be a financial counselor. It's not to, baby you through the process. His job is to sell a car. Bottom line, point blank. And if you can look at stuff from both sides of the fence, instead of just looking at it from one side of the fence, it helps you to understand that when you walk in here, they're going to do their best to sell you that car at all costs, without question. So, and just like a schemer, they're going to do their best to sell you that scheme at all costs. No problemo. They're going to try to get you. And sometimes, if you have an objective mind, you can really sit back and you can learn. Like, they're really good at like telling stories or sales pitch. They're really good. I mean, really good. They're real good at trying to invoke. I don't want to say guilt, but maybe compassion, or trying to use your principles against you. They're really good. Like, there's some really good schemers out there. I'm telling you, they're really good. However, if you're a patient person, if you use critical thinking, it's really hard for some people to run schemes on you because they know that you're thinking about what they're saying. It's not more or less. It's just going through the motions, and they don't really try you as much. It's like, nah, he don't look like somebody I could really run game on like this. So I'm gonna kind of leave him alone. I'm gonna go over here to where somebody is susceptible to what I'm trying to do. So people will run schemes on you. Don't have that entitled mindset thinking that, everybody has your best interest at heart. Because I'm telling you, people run schemes all the time. You have to be careful enough to want to not let somebody scheme you out of stuff or scheme you out of money. Just be smart about it. That's what I tell you. Be smart. Make the best. If you don't know, ask somebody of somebody else. Get a second opinion sometime. Don't just go always for the first opinion unless you did the research and you know about the topic or you know about what they're talking about. Then you make that informed decision instead of being schemed into a decision, and now you stuck in the mud. So, all right, I think I'm gonna have to do some board work on this at some point. Talk about the different levels working at in the corporate world. Like the the topic is the topic is the difference in how to make a great salary. The difference on how to make a great salary. A lot of people, when you work, like I say, there's entry level, mid level, professional level, executive level. It may not be exactly that order, but that's in my head right now. That's where it's at. Entry, mid, professional, executive. A great salary. Entry level to mid level. Most people they'll work overtime. They'll work 40 hours plus overtime. Some jobs you can work 40 hours, another 40 hours, and you barely be at home, and you probably um bring home what time and a half. But if you're making 30,000 or 35, and you work overtime, and you may make 45 that year, how many hours did you put in? Are you working 90, 100-hour weeks or whatever? And you start getting to that mid professional level, the salary will be what you made working overtime but less hours. 8 to 4, 9 to 5, hour lunch break. You get the right job, hour lunch break. If you got good management skills, you can manage your skills. You can manage yourself. Nobody really micromanage you, and you got a pretty good salary. However, that's why I want to tell the youth, working overtime, working jobs that you got to work, double overtime. That's fine when you're young because you got the energy and, but you need to have the mindset of what's the next level for me. What's next for me? What's next for Mike? What's the next stepping stone for Mike? Sometimes, we try to wait for that perfect plan, but there is never a perfect plan. However, there's always opportunities that come along, and you have to be able to logically think, if I take on this opportunity, how much is it going to cost me in time? How much is it going to cost me in money? And can I pay that cost? Leveling up is going to cost you time and money. However, you level up in the right things, you have that winning mindset, it will pay off. I'm telling you from experience. I'm not telling you some fairy tale I read. I'm telling you from experience that if you go to school, you level up in the right field, it will pay off. Point blank, bottom line. Can you be prepared to deal with unfairness? What do I mean by that? Sometimes life is just not fair. It's just not. Everybody has advantages. Um, some person may be really detail oriented. You may not be detail oriented, but because they're detail oriented, there are certain things that they probably will get access to or understand that you may not. But just because they don't make it unfair. Or even if it does make it unfair, what do you have that makes it unfair for them? That's what you gotta understand. Like, you gotta understand what field fits you, and understand that as a minority, sometimes you're gonna deal with unfairness. There's no such thing all the time as a perfect situation. I'm telling you from experience. Sometimes you will be passed over. Sometimes, I tell you from my own experience, I was working at this ISP place, was a contractor, working for the ISP place, making like 60,000 a year as a contractor. But it came around a point where they was offering a full-time position, and I interviewed for it. Probably had a decent interview, and this, keep in mind, this is when I was in my 20s, so really wasn't mindset really wasn't right, like where it needed to be like now, with more experience under my belt as far as living, and I actually do some crazy stuff, like super arrogant, y'all. I had to really learn how to humble myself, but used to wear these NASCAR shirts to work, and it's this one shirt I would wear in particular. It had Charter on the front of it. I liked the shirt because of the colors. I didn't know that Charter was a competitor for the company that I work for. Never thought about that. Never knew that. So when I went to the interview, they brought up that it was brought up in like a board meeting or some kind of executive meeting that me wearing that shirt was causing some kind of static, or it was starting to be the cooler talk or whatever that what they was talking about. And pretty much I was passed over for the position. Now, how did I deal with that? How did I think my way through the unfairness, right? Was I mad? Sure I was. Frustrated? Sure I was. But when I really thought about it, I said, you know what? What do I really have to lose? Because they didn't pick me. I'm going back to my desk. I'm still making my contractor salary, which is like 60 grand, something like that. And when I did the research on it, it was 20,000 less. It was like 40 something for the full time position. So in hindsight, if they would have offered me that position, I would have turned it down anyway. I wouldn't have took less. If I came in and worked at 60 and maintained that, and was here that long, and then here you come gonna offer me 40. They try to run game on you, which they try to scheme you, in my opinion, run a scheme on you. Oh well, you're not paying benefits, you're not doing this, so when you're paying benefits and stuff, it goes down to 40. Not me. I'm not the one. You run that scheme on somebody else, not me. However, the initial reaction to unfairness is something that it's an art to be able to have a stone face, be a businessman about it, and take the emotion away and be so logical about it. Now it's to the point where somebody could pass me up, and it's not nothing personal. It's all business, nothing personal, all business. And that's how you got to look at the corporate world. It's a business. You're a business. They're a business. And think about business is supply and demand. And if you're in demand and they don't want to supply you with the salary that meets the demand that you're in, somebody else will. I know in IT, it will. It's crazy. They will recruit you. They will come if you got the skill set. They will come after you. You have to turn down stuff. You're like, no, I like where I'm at. I love my job. I'm good. But if you don't, they'll keep coming. No problem. So, the next segment we got is the quote of the day. Quote of the day. My guy, Dame Dash. I like listening to some of his podcasts. He got some interesting things to say sometimes. Some things maybe not so interesting, but pretty entertaining guy to listen to. He had this quote. No, not Dame Dash. I'm sorry, I did that last time. Not Dame Dash, another person. Arthur Golden. Arthur Golden. He said, a mind troubled by doubt cannot focus on the course to victory. Think about that for a minute. A mind troubled by doubt cannot focus on the course to victory. Arthur Golden. Quote of the day. Your body only can go where your mind, as far as your mind can take it. If you're full of doubt, down on confidence, I would tell you to build it up. Try your best to get rid of doubt, because doubt is something that causes a lot of people to fear doing things, a lot of people to not take that next step towards the next level, and it'll put you in some weird spaces mentally. So doubt, if you can find ways to increase your hope so you don't doubt, that is great. I would definitely encourage you to do that, because doubt is sometimes can be contagious. A lot of times doubt is what keep a lot of people down from trying stuff or challenging themselves. Is doubt. Oh, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. Oh, it's easy for you to do that. It's easy. You tell people to go to school. It's, oh, no, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to get into debt. But they'll get a credit card and run that joke up. And only thing you got to show for it is clothes or something like that. So sometimes it just throws me off, like people don't want to invest in their education. Because I used to be one of those people, and I'm telling you from experience, you will start going on the corporate journey, and you're going to realize that there are certain roads you just can't go down. You can't, it got a gate in front of it, and the only way to get through that gate is you got to have the code. And that code could be a bachelor's degree. That code could be having a master's degree. That code could be having a trade or a skill set. That code opens that gate, and that road leads to a different kind of success that everybody else can't get to because they didn't put in the same amount of work that you did. So I say that to say, don't let doubt cause you to be paralyzed in fear or stop you from doing something that's positive, something that you know that's going to bring you positive results, but the doubt of being afraid to do it or take that next step kind of holds you back. If you do not believe in yourself, why should another person believe in you? You should think about that. If you don't believe in yourself, why should another person believe in you? Like if you go to an interview and you kind of down on yourself, why are they gonna hire you if you're not even coming in with a good attitude into the interview? So think about that. You have to believe in yourself. And if you don't believe in yourself, work on yourself. Get some of that wisdom out of the Bible. Learn how to believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to take that next step. You won't. You'll be constantly questioning yourself. Do I really want to do this? Am I good at this? I don't know if I can do that. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of time. I don't know. I think I'm going to sit this one out. And then you realize, you just missed out on some great opportunity. You closed the door on other opportunities because you doubted yourself. So believe in yourself. Make good, solid decisions. And things will start happening. Things will start taking care of themselves. But you got to make good, solid decisions. You got to believe in yourself. And stay positive through it all. Even in negative situations, still stay positive. Confidence in your abilities and skills is something you have to build moment by moment. Abilities and skills. Sometimes you don't even know you have an ability till you try it. Sometimes you don't even know you had a skill until you take a stab at it. Like I didn't know I had IT skills. Shout out to my roommate fam. He put me on IT. Y'all, you always hear it, but you don't really understand. It's a broad acronym. But he talked me into getting a laptop. And when I got a laptop, I just started playing around with it. Next thing I know, I developed a bug for it. And I remember I was going to school for collision repair technology. And my teacher, Jacob Stanley, he really encouraged me. He told me that, he didn't feel like that was the end all be all for me, was to be painting cars. I still like cars and dibble and dabble and stuff like that every now and then. But he told me there's more to me than working in a collision shop. And at that time, I had so much stuff going on. I can tell you that right now. I had so much stuff going on. I think I had got laid off. No, I got fired from Red Cross. Was on unemployment and was trying to figure out my next move. And I started going back to school. So instead of going back, for a degree track, I went for a trade to get my feet wet. And I said, if I can pass the trade, I know I can, get a 2-year degree, but let me get my feet wet with this trade, this certificate first. So I did that. And when I did that and I started going there, I started learning more about, getting in college. Because another thing I was afraid of too is I didn't take the ACT. I didn't take the SAT. But when I went there, they said, oh, no, you don't have to take that. You can take the compass placement test. Now, I'm not the most academically smart person in the world. I'm not. I understand a lot of it, but never really. I always like hands-on stuff. I always like skill set stuff. But as far as like academic English and mathematics and algebra, never really liked it. Never really was my thing. But like I said, when I was doing collision technology, was killing it, no problem. When I started doing Cisco routers and switches, killing it, no problem. Now that I'm doing web development, killing it, no problem. I love it. And understanding that when you learn your abilities and skills, being able to build around those abilities and skills. Like me working in IT, I'm able to do stuff like this podcast, camera, switcher, mixer, laptop, can run all of that kind of stuff at the same time, no problem. I know how everything connect together, all of that. If somebody wanted to do a live stream, can do that too. If somebody wanted a live stream setup, can do that too. It costs money, not gonna be free, but it can be done. Can consult you on all of that. Can consult you on audio, what you need for audio. Can consult you on video, cause a lot of this stuff, these big podcasts, they have a production team. I don't have a production team. I'm a one man band with tech. I do all that kind of myself, but I learned all that by going to school for IT and working at different jobs and just seeing how stuff work. And my wife tells me and my buddies tell me that I have this analyzing personality. I analyze everything and kind of figure stuff out or decode something. That's kind of my one of my God-given abilities and skills is being able to figure out something or kind of look at something and discern and kind of figure stuff out a different way, and then being able to articulate it to somebody else to get them to understand and say it in simplest terms, break it down in simplest terms. Definitely the skill and ability. So, with that being said, I'm going to get ready to sign out. However, I really want to get this podcast to 1K subscribers, and I'm asking help from the viewers, our subscribers on YouTube, Facebook. Let me show you. I'll go there real quick. Let me show you real quick. Go to YouTube, Corp Tech Media. Boom, right there. Hit subscribe. Oh, go back. Go there, hit subscribe. Here's the channel. Go there, hit the channel, subscribe. Go to the video, hit the like button. And we're really trying to get to 1K. We're at 23 subscribers. We're trying to get to 1K subscribers. And also, another future plan that we want to do is we really want to go around and talk to our youth in high schools about transitioning from graduating from a teen to being an adult, and understanding that education, either in a trade or a degree or some kind of field like nursing or something like that, is very important now, especially with inflation, gas prices going up, vehicle prices going up, house prices definitely going up. The more quickly you can understand about the advantage of starting your education and getting it done by the time you in your mid-20s, the further ahead you will be, the better off you'll be. So I'm getting ready to sign out. I've talked long enough. I feel like I'm on a radio show. And Jay will be back real soon, giving them a little break. I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank everybody for subscribing. And leave comments. Engage with us. Let us know some of the stuff you want to talk about. Thank Michelle Harris for leaving that comment. And this is Mike. I'm about to sign out. Like I say, subscribe to our channel. Would be awesome. We also have a Facebook page, Corp Tech Media as well. We have Instagram, Corp Tech, the CTM content. We also have a Twitter. It's CTM content as well. So please, subscribe, follow, like, share. Help us out. Let's help us spread the word to the youth. Let's get this thing rolling, get the ball rolling. And thank Lil Rock for holding us down, supporting us. No place like Lil Rock. I love living in my city. No place like home, baby. So I'm signing out. It was just episode number 24, Thinking Game Podcast, and I'm signing out.